Hello everybody and welcome to my new modded Madden 25 series where I take on the New York Giants and try and make them into a contender. Now this is a modded version of the game. The mods I will be using for this are the StartToday mod, which just like it sounds, starts your franchise right after the end of the Super Bowl. So we're actually going to go through free agency first and the NFL draft before starting our season. I'm also using my UltraSim Gameplay Mod, which is a gameplay mod specifically made for CPU versus CPU play. That would give us some realistic gameplay. And I'll also be using my Madden trainer tool to handle player progressions instead of using the in-game XP system, and that will get us some realistic player progression. The settings I used is the same settings I basically use in my USFL franchise, if you follow that, but I'm able to use 15-minute quarters thanks to the gameplay mod, simulation, 14-second minimum play clock time. That would give us pretty close to a realistic amount of plays. Everything else is pretty manual except for managing practice reps and weekly training. I'll just let the CPU handle that. Now I'm going to want this franchise to move at a faster pace, so I'm not going to be slow simming every game of every week like I do in my USFL franchise. I'm going to continue doing that in the future in the USFL franchise, but I'm not going to do that in this franchise, as I want this franchise to move along a lot faster so we can get through multiple seasons. So I may live stream, one other game a week or something like that, but for the most part, we're going to be moving pretty quickly in this franchise. Now, another good, interesting thing about this franchise, I have the actual draft class, the real life draft class loaded into here. So we'll be using, the real draft players from the upcoming draft in this franchise. As you can see, Cam Ward, the #1 prospect up there. But first, let's go over our Giants roster and see what kind of roster we're dealing with here and see what our main needs are going to be for the upcoming free agency and the draft. So at the quarterback position, we obviously are not in a good spot there with Drew Lock, our best signed quarterback on the roster. We're going to have to look at somehow upgrading this position, whether it's through the draft or free agency. I think I prefer, unless we get a top tier quarterback in the draft, we're signing a free agent at least as a bridge type quarterback, because I don't think Drew Lock is going to cut it as a starting quarterback. At halfback, we have a couple of average running backs: Tyrone Tracy Jr., first-year guy out of Purdue, and Devin Singletary, who isn't too bad, but he's only rated a 76 here in this franchise. So that's kind of what we have there at running back. Of course, we have Malik Neighbors out of LSU, first-year guy, good receiver to build off of here. He has superstar ability. Once we get past him, though, there's a little bit of a drop off. We have Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton as kind of our #2 and #3 guys behind him. At tight end, kind of an average group. Theo Johnson is our best tight end there. Left tackle, Andrew Thomas, pretty good left tackle. So I think we're pretty solid there. John Runyon fifth year guard at left guard. Center is a bit of a weak spot with John Michael Schmitz Jr., 71 overall there. That might be a position we want to upgrade. Right guard, Greg Van Roten, 76 overall, but he's kind of getting up there in age. He's in his 12th year. At right tackle, Jermaine Olimanor. He's a 75 overall. We have Evan Neal, who can kind of compete for that right tackle spot as well. We're currently running a 3-4 defense, so we're not really going to have pass rusher style defensive ends. We have Elijah Chapman, 70 overall, not very good. What's even worse is on the right side, we have a couple of 68 overall players. Defensive tackle, of course, we have Dexter Lawrence at a 96 overall, but a big drop off after that. So our defensive line not looking very good so far. That might be another area where we need to upgrade. At linebacker, we have Kevon Thibodeau at a 77 overall. We have a couple of decent middle linebackers in Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden. And on the right side, we have Brian Burns, pretty good linebacker at 86 overall. At the corner position, not a great group. We have a couple of decent defenders here. Drew Phillips, Adoree Jackson, and Cordell Flott out of LSU. But they're mostly in the 70s, so kind of a young group, so maybe, hopefully they can progress as we go along. And we have Jason Pinnock as our starting free safety, and Tyler Newman, our starting strong safety at the moment. And at kicker, we have Graham Gano. He's 38 years old, going to his 16th year. He's at a 77 overall, and we have Jamie Gillen as our punter. So as you can see, we have plenty of opportunities to upgrade either through free agency or the draft. We do have the third pick in the NFL draft. So as we look through the prospects, it would be really nice if Cam Ward fell to us. We're picking third overall, but I have a feeling he's not going to make it to us. As if we look at the mock draft scenarios, I don't think he's going to make it to us, as the Tennessee Titans are picking first, and I don't see him getting past Tennessee. So, and there's kind of a drop off at quarterback after him. And so, if we want Cam Ward, we're probably going to have to trade up. So, we're going to have to take a closer look at these prospects and see, what we're going to do there. So before we move on to free agency, let's do our media availability here. I just love these things. Let's go to our press conference. As we stand at the podium, Coach, let's talk about the next few months. What is your plan for the upcoming season? I think we need to make a splash and upgrade the roster. No doubt that we have to do that. Any specific position or just the overall talent? I think I have a position in mind. Well, thank you. I'm glad they didn't make me choose a position. We need to trade for a sign. Offensive defensive starter with an overall rating of at least 85. Okay. Well, that's going to be tough. But we do have some cap room. So we'll see what players are going to be available in free agency. So we're moving on to the re-sign phase, and none of our players retired, as we're looking at the NFC East retirements, and only the Dallas Cowboys had Zach Martin retire. So good news there. So going into player negotiations here, all three of our quarterbacks contracts are expiring. I know we're not crazy about Drew Lock, but I think we do need to sign him, just for, at least be a backup. So we need to have quarterbacks in the quarterback room. So let's go ahead and try and negotiate with him. He doesn't have much interest, but we should be able to get around that. So I think I'm going to stick with a neutral offer here. And he totally dissed me there, and he said he's going to go to free agency. So that is not good. But we still have Tommy DeVito behind him. So we're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive here. And as we don't have much leverage here, we'll make a player-friendly offer here just so that we have a quarterback on the roster. And he's not interested in signing either. So it looks like we're definitely going to have to hit the free agency market for a quarterback, as nobody wants to sign with the Giants, although we do have the franchise tag available. That's probably not a good use of the franchise tag here. Tim Boyle, I just have no interest in signing him. So looking at the wide receiver position, we have 3 expiring contracts here. We have Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson wrapped up already. Would like to re-sign Darius Slayton, but he's another one of those players who just really doesn't have that much interest in signing with us. But I'm going to go ahead and try and give him a player-friendly offer and see if we can get him to sign. And he will not sign either. We do have Marset here, who is somewhat interested in signing. Let's see if we can sign him. We'll give him a neutral offer. And he is not interested in signing either. Not sure if I want to sign as these guys don't have much interest either. So let's go to another position. So starting right guard, Greg Van Roten, his contract is expiring. I think this is a priority here. I want to make him a player-friendly offer here. And nope. Picking up the 5th-year option here on Evan Neal, the right tackle. I think we want to keep him around another year because Jermaine Olamenor is 30 years old. All right, so we take care of that. I think we want to accept the 5th-year option on Kayvon Thibodeau here. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. At linebacker, one of our backups, he seems to have a little bit of interest here. Let's see if we can sign him. He's going to test out free agency as well. Adoree Jackson, I'd like to wrap him up before he hits free agency. He's basically our second best corner. Let's give him a player-friendly offer. All right. Somebody actually signed with us. That's good. All right. And so if we go back to corner position here, so our top 2 corners are under contract. Do we want to re-sign these guys? Greg Stroman doesn't have much interest anyway, so I'm going to let them hit free agency for now. So Jason Panicott, basically our best free safety, his contract is expiring. We definitely need to sign him. Even if we end up signing somebody better later on. He does have high interest, which is good. I'm going to just make him a neutral offer here. But yet he still says he wants to play for a new team next year. Okay. I don't think he's good enough for us to franchise tag. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, at the free safety position for now. Strong safety. Our top strong safety is signed. Isaiah Simmons is backup. I don't think we're going to have much luck signing him either. We'll try a player-friendly offer. And nope. And we have our kicker, our punter. I mean, dude, come on. We need... All right, so we're going to try a player-friendly. And a little bonus there. See if that helps. Now he's going to test free agency. So we're going to need a punter in free agency as well. All right, so that's about all we can do on the player. As far as re-signing players for now, we were able to sign one player, re-sign one player. Let's go ahead and do another storyline. We have our player meeting here. My agent's been telling me that my number one motivation is something. This is Wandale Robinson. When I change that about you, what kind of conversation is this? I don't want him to change that because we're in cold weather. Well, it wouldn't let me, it didn't wait for me to select something. This player has decided to follow your advice and will change his number. I didn't want him to change. So I don't know why it wouldn't give me time to make my selection there. That's kind of a bummer. All right, so I think we're ready to go to the next phase here. Let's go to free agency 1. So on the free agency, of course, we need a quarterback or 2. You have Aaron Rodgers out there. He doesn't have much interest. He's not going to have much interest in signing with us. 41-year-old quarterback, of course. I don't know how realistic of an option that is. We do have Justin Fields out there, though, and he does have some interest. He might be a good option as kind of a bridge quarterback. I don't know that I want him on a 4-year deal, though. I'm gonna go ahead and put an offer in for Justin Fields. Well, we'll get in on that. Let's see what other quarterbacks. We have Zach Wilson, Garoppolo. So I don't think I'm going to put in another offer for a quarterback in this stage. Anyway. So we need a free safety. Justin Simmons is here. I think I might make an offer here. This would fulfill our need of signing an 85-plus player. Going to make him an offer. And there are other teams after him, which is not unexpected. So we have Chase Young sitting there. Defensive end is a position of need. He is a scheme fit, so I think I'm going to put a player-friendly offer for Chase Young right here. And the Bears look like they are aggressively pursuing him as well. And I think I'm going to put an offer. I think I'll feel better putting another offer in for another quarterback here. We'll try Mac Jones this time. We'll start with a very player-friendly offer here. All right, we got 5 out of 5 active negotiations. All right, we reviewed we evaluated the offers. So we can only have 5 active negotiations going on at once. I'm a bit concerned. We're not going to be able to sign Justin Simmons, so I think I'm going to withdraw the offer from Mac Jones for now. And see what other free safety is available. All right, I think I'm going to make a player-friendly offer to DeMar Hamlin here. He has high interest. He would be an instant starter for us. All right, we're in free agency 2. We still haven't signed anybody. We are able to actively negotiate with an additional 5 players, so let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so I think I'm going to make a neutral offer here to Dayo Oyingbo. Let's make him an offer here. Defensive end. That is a position of need. Well, we have Trey Smith sitting there who has high interest, but he's getting heavily pursued. And he's going to want a lot of money. But I'm going to make the offer anyway. And we're not even in top 5 showing up there. Of course, not surprising there. We need depth at linebacker. I'm going to make an offer to Azeez Ojulari. He seems to have high interest. And we still need another quarterback. We still need another quarterback. I think I'll go with and make an offer to Jimmy Garoppolo. Why not? As there's not much competition for him at this time. All right, we've done a couple of evaluations, and it looks like now the Raiders are getting in on the Justin Fields sweepstakes, which is not good for us. We're still the only suitor for Jimmy Garoppolo. Justin Simmons still hasn't signed, but he has a lot of suitors as well. And according to the Market Watch, we're not even in the hunt. DeMar Hamlin, though, we're in a good spot with him. So I'm not too worried about Justin Simmons. I think I'm probably just going to withdraw the offer from Justin Simmons. Now, I think we're going to have to up our offer to Justin Fields here. Not really wanting a 4-year offer. I don't want a 4-year deal with him. I want maybe like a 2-year deal. And maybe offer him yeah, still not as good as the Raiders, unfortunately. Let's see if we can up it a little bit here. Targeted. All right, that at least puts us even with the Raiders. Not sure how successful that's going to be. Let's go ahead and evaluate the offers once again. And the Raiders looks like they upped their offer once again. Garoppolo, we're still on the hunt for him. We still haven't had any signings to us yet. We look to be in good shape with everybody, though, except for Fields. And we're still on the hunt with him. So I think at this point, let's move on to the next stage. One thing to note, in the latest mock draft that just came out, they actually have Cam Ward dropping a bit to Cleveland, which is only one spot ahead of us. That would be ideal scenario for us if we can somehow get Cam Ward. I'm wondering if we can just move up one spot if Cam Ward doesn't get picked by Tennessee. I'd be curious to see how much we would have to give up for that. But definitely something interesting to note. Well, the good news is DeMar Hamlin signed with us. That was definitely a position of need. But he is the only one, as the Rams have now gotten themselves in the mix for Justin Fields. Garoppolo's still out there, but none of these other players have yet to sign. We really need quarterback. Let's see what other quarterbacks are still available here. Still got Joe Flacco out there. Still have Mac Jones. Although I think we already have an offer for Mac Jones out there, if I remember correctly. Oh no, or was that Zach Wilson? Let's see who got it. Oh no, that was Garoppolo. So I think maybe I'm gonna put an offer in for Mac Jones. I don't like playing this waiting game with no quarterbacks on the roster. Let's give him a neutral offer and see if we can get him to bite. And we could use a right guard here. Let's make an offer to Dalton Risner here. And let's go ahead and evaluate offers. All right, we were able to sign Dalton Risner pretty quickly. Still no other signings. How do I view everybody? All right, so we were able to sign two quarterbacks. Mac Jones and Garoppolo have signed with us, which is good. We need a couple of quarterbacks on the roster, and we're going to have to probably get a third quarterback through the draft. We also signed our punter, Johnny Hecker. Of course, we already had DeMar Hamlin. And we also signed Deo Onyungbo. I cannot pronounce that name for anything. So let's go ahead and take another look at the roster and see where we stand at the various positions. Justin Fields, by the way, ends up signing with the Rams, 4-year deal. So we still only have two outside linebackers on the roster. Definitely want to get some depth there. We still have an outstanding offer for defensive line, defensive end position. We could probably upgrade our backup defensive tackle position here. We do run a 3-4, so we only need like a nose tackle type player. Dexter Lawrence is pretty good, but he's not really a scheme fit for that. But it'd be good if we can get a backup nose tackle on the roster who's better than Corey Durden. All right, I'm gonna make an offer to Yannick, whatever his last name is, and hopefully he can accept that offer, as we need the depth at linebacker. Javon Gibson, I'll go ahead and throw an offer his way as well. as we need somebody to back up Thibodeau. And we can really, we're not going to be able to get an upgrade at the defensive end position, but we can kind of use some depth there as well. I like prioritizing scheme fits if we can. Gallimore here doesn't show much interest, but he's not doesn't have any suitors either. All right, I'm going to go ahead and evaluate offers here. All right, so we signed 2 defensive ends. So we should be good for now there. I try and sign as much through free agency. That way we can kind of approach drafting the best player available when it comes around a draft. So who's the best players remaining overall here? I always want to keep an eye on that. Yeah, Cam Akers available. Aaron Rodgers still available as well. We got Alan Lazard available as well. Cameron Sutton. A lot of good players still available. All right, so I think I'm going to make an offer here to Elijah Moore, wide receiver, young wide receiver. He's only 25 years old, scheme fit. Going to make him a neutral offer here. You know, and I kind of like having a fullback. I think I'll make an offer to Patrick Ricard here. We'll do a team friendly. We'll go there. And I think we need one more middle linebacker here for depth purposes here. It's a lot of bodies out there. Do Oren Burks here. We'll give him a neutral offer. All right, let's evaluate the offers. All right, we signed Oren Burks. All right, now we got to choose our focus players. We already got Cam Ward pretty well scouted. You know, I love Abdul Carter as well. But is it necessary for us to scout him? Like, I already know he's going to be good. Yeah, the biggest travesty would be if the Titans and the Browns pick Cam Ward and Abdul Carter in any order, because those are the 2 players I want. So maybe we should scout players after those that come after those 2, you know, that are rated below those 2 players, so we can have a decent third option. So I don't know if this thing is bugged or not, but now it will not let me pick my 3 focus players, which is kind of annoying. So I think we're going to have to just go to the next stage, the free agency recap, and hope for the best. All right, so now it's letting me select the private workouts. That's kind of weird. Let's go ahead and do that. So the first player I want to do is Shadir Sanders, as we may not get Cam Ward. But we can at least get some additional scouting on Shadir Sanders. And I next want to do James Pierce Jr., speed rusher. He'll be an ideal fit for us. And we'll do Tyler Warren, tight end. Tight end is definitely a position of need for us. And we'll go ahead and select those 3 players to do private workouts with. All right, and so now we have 59 players signed. Still have a good bit of cap room. We are ready for the NFL draft. Let's see what young players we can pick up in this year's draft. So looking at the draft, I really want Cam Ward. I think it's worth perhaps trying to trade up one spot to get him if the Titans don't pick him. Same thing with Abdul Carter. Although he's more of a power rusher. He has a lot of elite traits. And although we don't have him scouted as much as some of the other players, I think he's a no-miss proposition there. I kind of like James Pierce as well. He has elite acceleration, jumping, and speed. So he definitely wouldn't be a bad pick either. So we'll see what happens there. But let's go ahead and one other interesting thing to note here: Shadir Sanders moving up the mock draft to number 7. We have him fully scouted, and his accuracy ratings are pretty good. As you can see, is a lot of A's and B's all around in accuracy, under pressure, all of that. So that might be a consideration as well. So let's go ahead and start the NFL draft. And the Tennessee Titans are on the clock. And let's see who the Tennessee Titans are going to pick here. And it is Carter. Tennessee Titans on the Cleveland Browns on the clock. I'm going to pause the draft here and see what kind of deal we can get to move up with Cleveland here to ensure we can get Cam Ward. So I'm curious to see how Cleveland reacts to this deal. Basically just swapping picks, the second and third. They have the second pick, we have the third pick. And I give them a third round pick this year. Let's see how good this deal would be. All right, so they like the direction, but need more to feel comfortable moving forward. Okay, so they just want a little bit more here. I think we can make this work here. We throw in a fifth. Done deal. They accepted it. So we're giving up a third and a fifth this year to get us the second pick. And that is going to allow us to pick Cam Ward with our first round pick. Let's go ahead and draft him. And we're going to get to see Cam Ward walk on the stage with a New York Giants jersey. I think it was well worth the trade there. Ranked 34 in true value, drafted by number 2, B- pick. We'll see how that works out. And we'll see I'm kind of curious to see who the Browns pick with this third pick here. And it is Pierce, not surprising. So we drafted Jordan Burch, defensive end, with our second round pick at pick number 34. We traded away our third round picks. So let's go ahead and skip ahead to the fourth round. So I think I'm gonna draft Mason Taylor with our fourth round pick. Tight end is kind of a position of need there. Out of LSU. We'll see how that works out. Well, we have Tez Johnson here, who's dropped in the draft for our seventh round pick. Why not take a chance on him? He is very speedy, as he has elite speed and elite acceleration here, and did very well in his college pro day in the 40-yard dash. Second fastest receiver and the highest receiver in the 3-cone drill. So heck, he's available here in the 7th round. Let's go ahead and draft him. So that was an average pick, but I guess he has some issues with catching the football. And I do believe we're going to have another 7th round pick upcoming. And we do pick number 30 in the 7th round. And I'm going to go with KC Osai here for our last pick. And we got a D rating for that. That's not a good sign. All right, so looking at the draft recap, we only had 5 picks thanks to our trade, but we did get the player we wanted in Cam Ward. Only comes in at a 73. That's not very good for the second overall pick, I should say. But we will have these players, of course, will have they will be able to progress through training camp and every week. And so this by no means means these players are bust or anything like that. Jordan Birch comes in at a 70. And Mason Taylor, a disappointing 67. Tej Johnson, 68. And Casey Osai, which a lot, these lower picks are just throwing darts at a dartboard pretty much. So that's kind of a summary of the players we drafted. All right, it is now time for training camp, and here are the results using the Madden Trainer tool, and I have sorted the roster by years pro so we can see how the younger players did first. And as you can see, Cam Ward, unknown development trait. He did pretty well in practice. He did gain 2 points of overall rating, so he's now a 75. So that's pretty good considering he started out. He was kind of a disappointing 73 to start out. And so it looks like he gained some accuracy, mid accuracy in particular. Jordan Birch, our second round pick, gained 1 point to 71 overall, gaining some strength and tackling. So getting those physical improvements is always tougher to get in this tool. So it's good to see him improve some strength there at that position, particularly when we're running a 3-4 at the defensive end position. Tej Johnson, a receiver, jumps to 69 overall. Mason Taylor did not make any improvements at all, which is kind of disappointing. Casey Osai, we kind of took a flyer on him late in the draft. He gained 1 point to 66, also gaining some potential tackling ability, so that is good to see there. I'm going to now sort this by position so we can kind of see by position the improvements. Drew Phillips up to an 80 overall, one of our corners. That is good there, as he made plenty of improvements in both his physical attributes and his football skills. So he's a young player as well. Good to see him making improvements, having a good training camp there. Along the defensive line, Jordan Riley, one of our young defensive tackles, getting a couple of points bump there. And his overall, Damar Hamlin, our free agent signing, had a good training camp there, getting +3 in zone coverage and tackle. He's up to a 76 overall, so good to see that signing worth it there. At the linebacker position, Ojulari getting +2, gaining +4 in finesse moves. Good to see him getting some traction there. At the middle linebacker position, looks like that group had a good training camp, as one of our starting middle linebackers gets a point of overall, going up to an 87 overall now. And we already saw Cam Ward getting a couple points improvement. Bryce Ford Wheaton, one of our young wide receivers, has made many improvements in his route running. He's up to 70 overall now. So good to see there as well. Wandale Robinson not having a good training camp, even though it says okay. While he gained 2 points in medium route running, he lost some points in other skills, so he kind of evened out for him. But he remains at a 77 there as well. So this page just gives us a summary of the improvements. I'm kind of curious to see across the NFL how other players did, and you can see that a couple of tackles on other teams who made as much as 4 points of improvement. So yeah, Jack Nelson, the left tackle for the Raiders, he actually jumped up 4 points from 69 to 73. So it is possible to get more than 2 points of improvements. It just unfortunately did not happen for our team during this training camp. All right, we're advanced to preseason week 1. I think what I want to do here is sign some free agents just for just for training camp purposes, and see if we can maybe find some diamonds in the rough. Now, I am going to house rule this so I can't take advantage of the computer. I'm going to limit myself to 3 free agent rookies. And what I typically do is, because we run progression at the, before every preseason game, we can kind of see what rookies have potential for, progressing at a high rate. So that's why I have to kind of house rule it, because the computer obviously is not aware of the progression tool. So let's do that. I'm also going to sign a fullback on the roster, and then I'm going to simulate each preseason game and also simulate progression before each preseason game. So be back in a bit. So before we actually simulate the preseason games, I want to go over the depth chart, the updated depth charts here. Cam Ward, we're obviously going to start, as he's by far the best quarterback on the roster. He's at a 75. We have, backing him up, Mac Jones at a 70, and Garoppolo as a third-string quarterback. At halfback, we still have Tyrone Tracy starting at running backs. He's at a 79, Singletary at 77. And then I just signed LeQuint Allen, a rookie running back out of Syracuse. He's at a 72, so he may make the roster as a rookie free agent. And then we have Eric Ray in the 4th position. At fullback, I was able to sign Reggie Gilliam, so he will be the starting fullback. And we'll have Bellinger back him up at fullback. And we'll have Dulcich in the 3rd spot there at fullback. So wide receiver, unfortunately, Malik Neighbors is injured, so I'm taking him off the depth chart. Don't want to risk getting injured. So for now, we're going to have Wan'Dale Robinson as number 1 wide receiver, Jalen Hyatt behind him. Bryce Ford Wheaton, a young receiver, is in the 3rd spot. Montrell Washington, Tez Johnson, rookie, and Ty Felton, another rookie. I think he was a rookie free agent. He's one of the rookie free agents that I signed. At the tight end spot, we do have 4 tight ends on the active roster. Mason Taylor, he's going to need to improve. But I want to put him in that 3rd spot to see how much he can improve during the preseason. So hopefully he can improve and make the roster there. On the offensive line, we're set at left tackle as our captain, Andrew Thomas. He'll be manning the left tackle spot with Uzudu backing him up. At the left guard position, we have John Runyon starting. We do have a good backup in Lucas Patrick, who probably will be backing up the guard position at both ends there at left guard and right guard. Center position, John Michael Schmitz Jr. At a 71 overall, we're probably not going to end up keeping 3 centers on the roster at the end of the preseason. Right guard, we have Dalton Risner, who we signed in the offseason. And as I mentioned earlier, we have Lucas Patrick backing him up. At right tackle, we have Ola Minor. He's a 75. And we have a solid backup in Evan Neal there. So on the defensive line, we have all these names are going to give me problems. Or Jengbo, I guess is how you pronounce that. We're going to have him in the first position at left defensive end. He's 74 overall. We have Gallimore behind him, right behind him at 73. So those are some matchups we can keep track of during the preseason. You know, it's possible Gallimore can overtake him in terms of progression. So we got to keep an eye on that matchup. On the other side, we have Jordan Birch starting one of our rookie draft picks in the second round. We're going to have him start over Gallimore, and Gallimore is going to, knocking at his door, backing him up. And then we have the veteran Nunez Rochez in the third slot there. Defensive tackle. We recently signed, I just did sign Sheldon Rankins as some much needed depth there. We're going to have Rankins back up to Marcus Lawrence. We're running a 3-4, so we're not going to need 5 defensive tackles on the roster come the regular season, of course. But I wasn't very comfortable with the sharp drop-off after DeMarcus Lawrence. So Sheldon Rankins, I think, fits perfectly into our scheme, and we'll roll with that. So at the linebacker position, pretty deep group, although no superstars. Kevon Thibodeau is a starter there, and we pretty much almost go 3 deep at this position as we have Ojulari and Gibson backing him up. In the middle linebacker position, we have Okereke. He's at 87. We also have McFadden, who's going to be playing a lot. Oren Burks behind him, and we have one of our rookies, Casey Osai. He's sitting there in the 4th slot at a 66 overall. On the other side, we have Brian Burns. Obviously, he's going to be starting. And backing him up, we're going to have Travis Gibson and I can't even pronounce that. I'll call him Yannick. How about that? All right, and in the secondary, we have Drew Phillips as our starter. We have Adoree Jackson behind him, along with Cordell Flott, Deontay Banks, and Trey Hawkins. So a pretty veteran group there. We have a bunch of other corners. Madden tends to have a lot of corners on the rosters. But they're young guys who are going to struggle to make the team, maybe practice squad players. At free safety, we have our free agent signing, DeMar Hamlin. He's going to be the starter there. Backing him up so far, Anthony Johnson, along with Raheem Lane. At strong safety, I only have 2 strong safeties on the roster. Tyler Newman's the starter. Dane Belton's going to back him up. At kicker, we have Graham Gano, 16-year veteran. And we have punter Johnny Hecker, who we signed in the offseason. He's at a 73 overall. All right, we've simmed all the preseason games, and it was not pretty. We went 0-3 in the preseason. Not that the records matter, but it's more the performance of the players and the progression of the players. And it just wasn't good for the Giants going 0-3. But not only that, we just kept getting injury after injury. We did have some players eventually heal up, but if we look at the injury report before for week 1 of the regular season, we have 4 players with multiple week injuries, including 2 of our linebackers, our 2 starting outside linebackers, and Thibodeau and Burns. We also have Wan'Dale Robinson with a foot fracture. He's out for an extended period of time, as well as our starting left tackle, our best offensive lineman, has a partially torn MCL. He'll be out another 4 weeks. So it has not been a good preseason on any level for the Giants. Let's take a quick look at how the players progressed in the preseason, and then I think we'll call it the end of the video. So looking real quickly at the progression report since the beginning of the season, Cam Ward has not been able to make any more progress since training camp. He's still at a 75. Minimal progress. We do have Trey Hawkins, who, young player who's improved to 73 overall. Micah McFadden, another one of those players. DeMar Hamlin, he's also progressed 3 points, free agent signing there. So we did have some players improve, but we'd like to see some of our rookies get more progression as we move forward. So I think this is where I'm going to end the video. Next video, we'll see how we can do in our first regular season game on the road in San Francisco against the 49ers. That is obviously not going to be an easy game. But we'll see. You never know. But I sure hope you enjoyed the video. I think this will be a good series. Get to play with a rookie quarterback and see how that goes. Let me know how you like the format of this video. Look for a live stream maybe for one of the regular season, some of these games I'll stream online, kind of like I do with the USFL games. Be sure and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.